Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't African, the talk, think show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the indigenous one. And today we're going to look at politics through our own eyes. A lot of times we like to look at politics and anything that make up the human activities, what goes on in human activities. We always look at it through somebody else's eyes. But here in African Americans Ain't Africans, the phenomenon that we participate in, we try to look at it through our eyes so we can get a glimpse or a better grasp of what's happening. Because a lot of times people coming from other places trying to make up policy for us here doesn't pan out right. So today we have a sister here that's going to, share her political journey with us and show us, some of the things we may be overlooking and we may just get in our emotions and stuff, and we really don't know anything. So I want to welcome Deborah White. How are you?
Halito, I'm pretty good, and you?
I'm great. Now I said that right, Deborah, right?
Yes.
So it says in your bio that you started out as a singer, songwriter. How did you
Yeah.
go from that to politics? Tell us about your singing songwriting career first.
Well, I started out as a singer with my mom, and the Vert family was my god family. So I started out I was born pretty much in the entertainment business. Um, so I eventually moved to California. Did a lot of work with Motown, ABC, NBC, and then I worked with one of the most giants of giants writers, which was Lamont Dozier, and so I was doing pretty good in the industry, as a background singer, songwriter, um, and I even did some acting, and I paid my bills. I put my children in horseback riding lessons and all kinds of things. So in that business is feast or famine. So I really, really loved it and enjoyed it. It was something I was born into. Now, I think your question is what made me decide to change to politics?
Yeah, how do you go? I mean, a little bit more about the entertainment industry because, in this social media age, we just get stories. We really don't know what's going on. Because one of the things I had, this is totally off kilter. How come you never hear about the black people, the sisters who's always in this Harvey Weinstein stuff? Because we know that type stuff goes on in Hollywood, especially with sisters. Is that one of the reasons why you don't really see sisters have a long lasting career in that because of that type of the way it is there?
No, in my opinion, I think the reason why we don't see our women, our womb bearers, as much as we should, is because their agenda is against the womb bearers. It's against us because we were once a matriarchal society. So it's really always politics in almost everything that you see. Like one of like, I don't think our people understand that we have in politics a genetic regime, a culture of destruction of almost everything that is our people. It's when I was at the Motown, I did a lot of work for Motown. And when you walk up to Motown, you go up to this big glass door. You walk in, you go upstairs, you greet everyone, almost everyone in the family. You go into the studio. There was a time where we were afraid to go to Motown because when the Jews decided they wanted to take over Motown, although Berry Gordy won't admit this, we were afraid that somebody might fall on top of us. They were throwing people off the top of that building to take over. We saw those things. That's not something you will hear about so much in the music industry or in the news. But there was a major takeover of the industry. In fact, I used to do a lot of work for ABC, and when I was doing some voices for the Chipmunks, and sometimes the Jewish regime would invite the girls to come and sit at the table and eat dinner with them, and they talked. They talked as if we weren't sitting there, and they ate like animals. But they literally talked about how they were going to change the face of music, and the purpose for changing the face of music was to actually, in my assessment of it, was to lull us asleep. Almost everything they do was to lull us asleep. Um, no, Motown is not owned by indigenous people. It's owned by the Jews. And it has been ever since, I think, somewhere in the late 70s and 80s. It's
Why?
not owned by us anymore.
Okay, so this is the kind of information that we're trying to stop here at African American, because you just cleared something up. So the brother just said he thought Motown was owned by indigenous people, and that's what most of us thought. Oh, Motown is a blah 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 blah, but it's not.
Not anymore, no.
Okay, yeah, yeah, but I'm saying that type of, because we don't have control over the information that is given to us. Isn't that one of the reasons why we're always late on picking up certain things that are happening to us? Because
yeah, because one of the main things I learned in trying to get in the political system was that most of what's done is hidden from us. The agenda is to hide almost everything, all truths from us. Why they want open borders, why they're changing the music system. Every change that they make is hidden because it's not put in the media. No one talks about it. They know about it, but they won't tell us about it. White America doesn't know either, because the agenda is, think about it, if we knew the hand that feeds us also kills us, we would rise up and do something about it.
Oh, damn, that's a cold way to put it. The hand that feeds us is the hand that kills us. Ooh. So one more question on this music thing, and then we're gonna get into the politics. I have one question for the now you talked about music in the 70s, the 60s, late 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
To me, which is like a classic period. I mean, I know Duke Ellington and Sarah Vaughan and all those people were wonderful, great too. But as far as music that reached the masses of people, the music era of that time, late 60s all through the 70s and early 80s, was some of the baddest shit ever. How did it go from that to where we are now with music?
Well, like I said, their agenda was to make sure that we don't produce songs with melody. They also changed the hertz. I think it was from 4. I can't remember what the number is, but they also changed the hertz in recording and playing, simply because the frequency of that was very much empowered us. So they changed the frequency of the music. Music now, if you listen to it, like for instance, I can always tell a Drake song because it has a lullaby to it. All of his songs are monotone. I mean, if you listen to them, it's da 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 da, lullaby and good night, da 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 da. It's just the same thing. It's constantly lulling our people to sleep. And so that's their intention. If it has real melody of what we heard from Stevie Wonder, other
Earth,
indigenous
Wind, and Fire,
groups,
Parliament,
especially
Funkadelic.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, especially them. It moved us in a
Right.
military way. It helped us to keep a military mindset, and in almost everything, even in our social life, in our political life. It helped us keep a military mindset. It, because of our hair, everything about us, our phenotype is very military. And not only that, it's also very, what's the word I'm looking for? Sensitive. And it's communication. That's part of our communication.
No, I
Yes,
understand.
thank you. 432 to 440s. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, that music. I see what you're saying about that, because everybody loves it, and I'm listening to what me and my daughters get into this all the time. What is that? And it's definitely not music, but what is it? And you can tell by what you're saying what the music is used to do to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
I mean, they practically, well, not even practically. I mean, they said it to us. They told us what they were going to do. My son just recently worked with someone who was trying to get a song to an artist, actually, to L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid loved this guy from what they told me and when they came back, but he rejected this artist. And the reason he rejected this artist is he said, we're not making those kind of artists anymore. We are, quote unquote, making niggas.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes. Yes. They're very open about what they're doing in the music business. It's not like it's well, it is a secret, but it's an open secret.
And we just fall into it, and this is what I don't get. This is why I don't get. We support it like it's something next to oxygen as far as giving life. We support this crap, and it's horrible. So why if the music is so horrible, why are the people gravitating to it as opposed to gravitating away from it? Why do you think that is?
Because you and I won't change. Let me explain that. I blame us for that, because we allow our children to do it. We have total control over what our children see, hear, taste, smell. We have that control. We could turn it off, but we don't. Because I was in the music business and I knew that my children would probably be in the arts, they'll tell you that they woke up to Mozart, and I constantly played songs that had great melodies, and I pretty much kept a lot of that away from my children. It helped some, but they still have to live in the world, but it
Yes.
helped some. And when I listen to my son's music, his music, not the music that he has to do for other artists, it's
Right.
totally different. It has melody, it has emotion, it has feeling to it. And that's one of the things they want to do, is take away our emotion,
Right.
and our feelings and thought.
Thought. What does thought have to do with it?
Well, what you think is what you begin to manifest in your life. So if you think of yourself as always being lulled to sleep, our children love to sleep. They're sleeping through life. And that's comfortable for them. I mean, let me give you an example of how sleeper people are. It's not just our children. I'm going to turn a little bit to the politics, and if that's okay with you.
Oh yes, we were going. That was the next role anyway.
Okay, I have a lot of people who know who I am, and I did a documentary on the Detroit chapter of I can't think of their names right now, but I did a documentary on the Detroit chapter, and I was invited to go and speak to their people, because he told me, he said, well, I'm the head of Detroit chapter, and sure, I'd love for you to come and speak, let them know what your political agenda is, and so on and so forth. And I spoke to these people. I told them, look, this is my political agenda. They loved it. They thought, okay, this is really cool. But the moment I said I'm running on a Republican ticket, they turned on me as if I was a monster. I mean, they verbally turned on me. I couldn't believe how so this is how sleepy our people are. You can tell them, here's a way out, and they'll love that way out. But if they don't like the leader, they won't take the way out. They'd rather stay in slavery than take the way out.
Wow.
That's how sleep our people are.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. There's a lady named Danielle Hooper here in Michigan that works with me on that. And she was shocked when she saw this. She said, are you watching this? I said, are you listening to this? They literally, and when I say literally, I mean literally, were verbally violent towards me. All because I said I ran on a Republican ticket. And when you say I run on a Republican ticket, you might as well say, I love Trump, I'm kissing his ass. Because that's what they hear. Because the Democratic Party has made us think of anything that has to do with conservatism. It all has to do with Trump. And all of these things existed before him.
Okay, but we were a Republican in the early 1900s. We espoused those ideas, conservatism. Don't just screw your money off. How did we get into a party that you can do whatever you want to do? How did that go down? Because we used to be, I mean, what, 100 years ago?
Yes.
I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The Democratic Party did something that the Republican Party didn't do. They began to implement programs. And if you listen to that word, that's exactly what they call them. We're going to introduce this program. We're going to introduce that program. All of these programs did exactly what they were meant to do, was to program us into wanting a handout and a help up rather than realizing we were already at a great level. And here's what the Democratic Party did. They told us, we're going to take your perfect world and make it better. Stupid us said, yeah, let's make perfection better. Let's see what programs you implemented. Every last one of their programs was to demean us, to overtake us. If we for some reason, we went to sleep with them and we never got out of bed with them.
Now that's a excellent way of putting it. So now I understand why, amongst the community, everybody is always playing that victim role. I need help. And it's like we never figure out things for ourselves. We never figure out.
They use racism. They use racism for exactly that. They wanted us to feel victimized rather than people who, we owned land already. My great-great-grandfather owned his land. Another thing that's very interesting is when we look at the Democratic Party, if we look at the Great Migration, my uncles, and they won't tell you this, my uncles came to the North. They literally had businesses in Mississippi. They left their businesses to come here on the promise of an industry. But they won't tell you that. But what they didn't know was that there was a plan that once we all came to the North and made enough money in that industry, that they would migrate or out-migrate that industry to leave us in persistent poverty. And here we are in persistent poverty. The poverty can't let up. It's built into not only the system, into our communities, but it's built in us. Now we've become a people who are totally begging for relief. Always begging for relief. So now Trump comes along. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Trump is 100% for Black people. But now Trump comes along, understanding, number one, to make America better would be making us better. See, we the ones who don't get that because we don't know we're Americans. When we fight under democratic mindset. We don't fight for our land because we don't know it's our land. We fight for rights, the right to have this and the right to have that. They'll give us the narrative and they'll say, we want you to fight for civil rights. We don't even understand what it means to be civil. We're not a civil people. We're a wild people. We shouldn't be civil. So they're handing us things all the time that is in contradiction of who we really are. If that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. What is the role of politics, or what role does politics play in our lives today?
Well, it plays a role of devastation in our lives. I mean, we constantly see ourselves, like I said, as a people who want a handout. We want you to give us a program that will better us. But if I'd like to say something that I think is even more important, is what politics should play in our lives.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure.
Because what I've learned is this. From being almost destroyed verbally by the very people that I'm trying to help, I realized this. We don't even know that our ancestors, the Indian, built the Constitution. And what's in the Constitution? Let's look at the First Amendment. And I've talked to these people about, look, you got to understand what politics means to us, what these things mean to us, and why we should go back in it, because it needs to be either corrected by us or torn down by us. And so what is the First Amendment? The First Amendment was put in there because we must always have the right to speak to the universe. We think it's, oh, we have the right to say, shit, damn, and fuck. But that's not what it's about. It's about being able to speak to the universe. It's about, because the universe obeys us, not them, and they know that. That's what the First Amendment was about, and that's what that's why they wrote it in there. The other thing was the right to bear arms, because we knew that the people we were getting involved with was our enemy. So these are the things that we've forgotten about politics, because we're handed what politics is, and we're not going back into history and looking at how our people played a major role in politics. And we were Republicans. We were a republic, and we just got out of that.
Yeah, because I always ask people, when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy. And when you say what happens to, these are like highly educated people, and it just seems like they gloss over certain things that anybody would pick up. And I'm like, well, do you think they brought the Constitution with them when they came over from England?
Right.
And I'm like, damn, dude. And we never get it. And I'm talking about, these are some of the people whose asses are kissed by the masses, are roving idiots. And to me, it's those people are put in power for a certain reason, to make sure we stupid. To make sure.
Yeah, and people who look like us. I used to call them our people, but I'm also realizing some other things that I learned in politics is that there's a great role of alien hybridation. And I'll talk about that maybe someday. But not everyone who looks like us in politics is for us. And I'll tell you something else that I've learned. Because I grew up here in this city, I know quite a few of the politicians, or those whose parents were politicians, and I dated some of them. I had a life. And what I learned is that we were some of the most crooked people in politics. Let's say the government would give certain political folk $2 million to put into the education system. I've seen this with my own eyes. They'll take 2/3 of that and distribute it between the people who are working, or as they call it, palm greasing. And very little of it would be to go to set up some sort of a program for our children. So we're destined to fail because our own people won't put the money where it belongs. But here's another thing I found. These very same people that found out I was running, when I talked to a few of them, said to me, you need to come to the Democratic Party and listen to this. The Jews are waiting for someone like you to put money behind.
Are you serious?
I'm not gonna lie. Somebody could hear this and call me a
No, no,
liar.
I know you're serious, but I'm like, it's that egregious.
Yeah, the Jews run the Democratic Party. I've heard other people who of our bloodline get out of it because of that. Let me tell you, you have to sign a contract in the Democratic Party. You have to confess that you are, quote unquote, a friend of the Jews, not of America.
Wait a minute, hold up, cuz. What did you say?
You have to sign a contract and make a verbal statement. I am a friend of the Jews, not of America.
Wow.
Yes, that's true. Because if
So
you
that
don't, even if you win, you won't get any money. And here's the thing that I learned. All the money that these Democrats who actually make it, if you see a Democrat, black Democrat, I'm going to say the word black, with money, they can't use that money for our benefit because that money makes them ineffective for our people, or they won't give it to you. That's why you have to make that contract. This is why we saw Obama always being called the friend of the Jews.
so what is okay? So let's take Obama for a minute because
Okay.
I mean, next to Jesus, I think is him among the Negro. What happens when those people are in those positions and the majority of the people exalt them like they're some kind of god or something, when in actuality that person is putting their foot in their ass? What does that do?
I'm not
So
sure
like
what you asked.
so like
Can you?
okay, so like Obama. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you remember the first time he won for president?
Mm-hmm.
Negroes lost their mind. And of course, not all of them. Of course, there were the ones that was like throwing up like me.
Yeah,
But
I knew
they
he was
just
no good.
yeah, and people just hopped on him like he was I don't know. But his whole platform all along was to dog you out. And we just oh he's so wonderful. What does that do to us in the long run as far as our psyche goes? Because I mean, and many people still think he was the greatest thing since oxygen. What does that do to a psyche of people when that's not the case? When they finally find out that this wasn't the case?
Um, I'm a sociologist first, foremost. What does that do to our psyche? It further pushes us into Stockholm syndrome. That's number one. But another one is predicament bondage. Um, I'm not sure if I can explain that, but in our psyche and the people who have been lulled to sleep, the main thing is that it does to us is that we've been given someone that they say is black like us, but he has no stake in us at all because he's not us. He's not our blood. See, we don't think in terms of bloodline. We think in terms of color. We think in terms of people of color. So all you got to do is give a person some brown skin, and we automatically go crazy. Like it's Jesse Jackson did that to us. He said we need a black president, but no, what we needed was an Indian president. And we don't get that because we don't know we're Indian. Well, no, most of them know that we're Indian. I'll take that back. But we, the
Right.
people, don't know that we're Indian. So we're always being told what to look for in our future. We're always told what our Messiah is going to look like, who he's going to be, what he's going to say. And then when he looks like it and speaks like it, we go, that must be him.
Yes.
See, and that's pretty much why he won, because we have been conditioned for him to come for years. And then when he shows up, he's the one.
Yes.
So when he implements, you know what? We're so indoctrinated in color. I wrote an article about President Obama. He actually implemented. He implemented the executive order that we're running on now that allows the military to come into our neighborhoods and take our homes. He implemented that. And when I told our people about it, they said, no, he won't do that. But he did. They still don't believe he did it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
still don't.
And just for a point of clarification, what the sister was saying about how we identify with color and not bloodline, this is what we don't understand. Barack Obama is white. His mama, he comes from his mama. The eggs, and this is stuff that when the sister saying, and now this is why I'm saying this, we don't pay attention to bloodline. All we do is pay attention to color. And black, which is a color that never wins, is always the color we always gravitate to. Barack Obama's mama's white. Those eggs that she carries with her whole life was passed down to her from her mother, and then her mother, and then her mother, and then and that's how no man's feet touches the ground unless he comes to a woman.
Right.
We don't even understand that shit. We still confused on that in 2020. And so this is how people are allowed to come in and do what they want to us because we never get it. And we don't look like we never want to change. Okay, but keeping the conversation going. When I see other nations hold elections, they will have up to 40 political parties running for a certain office. Mexico, they have 4 main political parties. South Africa has 14. Ghana has 24. Nigeria has 45, which makes up their government. There's only 2 in here that really gets any play. Isn't that close to like a dictatorship? Because you're only this far away from having one person say everything or one party say anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a dictatorship at first because the people ruled, but it has become a dictate. You're right. It has become more of a dictatorship because we don't choose who's gonna run. We have no say in picking who our politicians are going to be. We should, and we still have the power to do that. But that's pretty much it. But even in this country, as blind as we are, if we had if we had 6 different parties, we would still be in the shape that we're in as original people, because we wouldn't believe that we wouldn't be a part of anything except for the handout. And I've reached out to some of our leaders about this very thing that you're talking about. And I've said, look, we need to come together and build our own caucus and build our own community standards. And we should also build our own political system Do you know, I have heard not from one of our Indian leaders, and I think to myself, who are our chiefs? Our chiefs are sitting silent. All of them.
Which means they're not chiefs. I don't know how we don't get that. That's us.
I have actually had some Indians in Flint and here to come and say, you should be chief. And I go, no, because in all my other lives, I was always counsel to the chiefs. But I don't know who to be counsel to because our chiefs are silent and they're scared. They're scared to stand up. They won't even come together. I've said, look, at least let's come together and sit at a table and start planning.
Well, since they don't do that, why are they chiefs? I mean, what's the purpose of being chiefs if you're not, when you see the people getting the shit slapped out of them, you don't stand up and say nothing? Why be a chief?
I don't know. I have that question too. And why do we give such honor to these chiefs? Why? Because they know who they are. We got to get past knowing who we are. Right. Now we must do the work.
Right, right.
The universe has actually said, oh, it's time to heal your DNA memory. We know who we are. And let me tell you something. The reason why they're working so fast on putting out a virus and trying to put us back to sleep is because we're waking up at a very fast pace. It doesn't seem like it, but we're waking up at a very fast pace. And I'm going to I'm inboxing leaders and sending letters and talking to them. Please call me. Please talk to me. Okay, nothing. Please give me some information. There's a guy in your group that talks a lot about the Constitution. I've reached out to him so many times. I just said, fuck it. They're not interested in doing anything except giving information. We've got that. Now, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with all this knowledge?
Right.
Nothing.
What do you think? What do you think about a true indigenous party? How do you think that would go over? And call it that.
I think it would go over well, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I've said this. I've like I said, I've reached out to them. I've done other television shows, and I said, when people ask me, why would you run as a Republican? And I told them, we got two parties. We should be sitting at the table on both sides. We should have Indian Republicans, and we should have Indian Democrats. It's not about partisan. It's about where we're sitting at the table. Because we can control the center if we're sitting on both sides. That makes total sense to me.
Makes sense to me too. See, that's the kind of stuff that we ain't even got to debate and argue and wrestle over. Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm the only one that want to do it.
Yeah, because this political thing that we're running now doesn't work at all.
See, people are saying, I hear a lot of Indians talking, a bunch of crap about this political system. Or, you got to sign a paper and pay to be an Indian. Like, nigga, I was born an Indian, number one. Number two, we got to get out of the political system. We created this political system. We got to be the ones to either fix it or kill it. We have to look at our role in this. We can't sit back anymore and allow people who don't love our land, don't understand our land, could care less about our land. They're running it. I've reached out. Look, I've got a petition right now that Trump would, if he saw it, I believe this in my heart, that Trump would actually grant us if we had 100,000 signatures. I have sent this to Indians and I've told them, look, for 70 years, Mexicans have been brought into this country to kill us. They have literally killed off whole African-American communities. The Department of Justice said, this is so bad. It's been going on for 70 years. They're just killing Black people off. I asked them, sign a petition. I'm going to take it to Trump that these ethnic white Latinos and ethnic white Mexicans be charged with genocide. They've committed every act of genocide you can think of, because I studied genocide as a politician. And I realized, I said, hell, we could get them out of our country if we just sign the petition. You know how many signatures we got? 62.
Okay,
They
so
won't even read it.
okay, so check this out. So something that important, and you got just 62 signatures. Is there a way, because I've never heard of it. Is there a way with stuff like that, important stuff like that? What is the way that we can get that to as many people? Everybody sees it,
I
because
don't know. I know I have the petition on my website. I'm posting it, believe it or not, to all these indigenous groups. I'm posting it.
well, send it to me. I'll post it in the group, and somebody will respond because what we try to foster in our group is, look, you gotta think past the dumb shit they giving you. You are here. You are some light here. Shine some light, dude. Instead of always doing this, like, we can't win. I don't know, crying and complaining, and it's like you say, what we doing?
We don't believe that we can make a change anymore. And I understand that as a sociologist, how we got here. One of the things I study is construct. And I'm also got a counseling service where I actually created a program. I shouldn't use that word, but a system where we go back and look at the social construct that's got us here, and then we look at reality, and that's the therapy. How do we get our minds back to our organic self? We have totally lost all self-preservation, our laws of nature. We've been denatured. We don't even see that we should self-preserve. I went on one man's show who wanted me to do the talk about the petition. He himself, put it down, and then all of his friends were, it ain't gonna work. I said, well, we don't even try anymore.
Right.
We've got a president in office. Whether we like him or not, we're not looking at what he's really doing. And okay, why is he in office? He's in office because he wants to save white America. I'm not stupid. I know he wants to save white America. But there's a door open for us, but we won't go in. It's a door that the Democrats are never going to open for us. And we need to walk into that door while we have an opening. We have a man who would be willing, probably, to help us get rid of these Mexicans because he hates, what is that group, that Mexican group, something 13? He hates them. He wants to get rid of them. If we were to put an agenda like this before his face, he just might pass it. He might, but we don't see it.
So that's why you say we need to be Indian Republicans, Indian Democrats, and also have a true indigenous party.
Yes.
And because with the true indigenous party, and this is seriously what I know, the support that would ring up amongst the world would be phenomenal.
I agree.
It would be phenomenal.
Why I agree? Let me tell you why I agree. Because I did a little video not too long ago where I was very emotional. And I didn't mean to be emotional. But you know how many white people made response to that? Oh, I want to be indigenous. Oh, I love the indigenous people. Oh, I would help. In fact, they signed the petition. I got white people who signed the petition. They will be on board because, listen, they're beginning to know who we are. And one of the things that white people are tired of are Mexicans, Chinese, Japanese, and other foreigners who are coming in here and taking, their land. See, because they have the mindset of landowners.
Right.
We have the mindset of programs.
Right. I would suggest everybody get a chance, go on YouTube and pull up a TV show. It's like on Netflix on the Paramount channel. It's a show called Yellowstone, and it shows how these foreigners are coming over here. This is some beautiful land, y'all. I know we don't go everywhere, but they have some places in America, in North America, that are beautiful. And those are our lands, but we don't look at it like that. We trying to buy a house like them, and this is your land.
Right.
You won't connect to nothing. Scared of nature.
Yep.
And you got the nerve to sit up and try to say something. Sit your ass down. Seriously, because it's wearing us out. It's where I mean, and we just anybody can come do anything to us, like you said about the Mexicans. My aunt used to be the mayor of Compton, Doris Davis. She used to be the mayor of Compton. When she was the mayor of Compton, Compton was 90%. They were what called black at the time.
Yeah.
African Americans wasn't used.
Yeah.
It's now about 90% Mexican.
Yes. And you know how it got that way? And I have articles on. I have
I
articles
know
that you
what you're
can
gonna
look at.
say.
Yeah, they killed us all. They
Yes,
killed a lot of those. They took
yes,
their houses. And one of the things I'm asking for, or demanding actually, because it was written by me and Danielle, one of the things that we're demanding is not only that they be charged with genocide, but the housing and the property that was taken by them be given back to who? The American Indian. See, my
yes.
people won't read what we've got in the document that we're sending to the president. They won't read it and they won't sign it.
Right, right. Yeah, I see it. Um, now, what was it like to run in Detroit? I mean, running in the land of basement dwellers.
Oh my gosh, where did you get that term from? I did a documentary on that, and that's exactly what I'm not a documentary. I did a podcast on that, and I called them basement dwellers. Candace Owen also took that term and started using it. But they're basement dwellers. You got a lot of Detroiters here who know who they are, but their agenda is so small that if you come against their small agenda, they will turn away from building a political regime or a real regime that brings power to the original people. So let me first tell you that in the city of Detroit, I'm not liked very well. I'm not liked very well because what we've got is a bunch of African Americans whose agenda is to keep that African American agenda going because they make money off of it. There are educators, are professors. They run the not just the political system, but they're the ones who get the jobs here. So if they begin to put in an agenda for the original people of Detroit, they'll lose their jobs. They know who we are, but they'll fight me tooth and nail. I've been called. I don't know if you listen to my podcast, but they call me names. They call me things like a person who loves misogyny, or miscegenation. One guy told me I was trying to kill our children off.
How, you
Just
see,
the kind of things that they say.
yeah, yeah. It's really bad especially when you hear a brother say it, because these are the dudes who's supposed to be forming like a human shield around us, and these dudes be coming with their panties wet.
It's the educated niggas.
Yes,
Because
yes,
when we went out into the grassroots, we said, well, let's go out to the grassroots because it's no good in talking to these educated niggas. They
right,
don't want to do anything but be educated niggas because that's where their money is. But when we went out to the grassroots, guess what they said? We sick of the Democrats.
right,
We don't vote because no one's going to do anything for us. No matter who gets in office, we're always going to be poor, no matter what happens. And so they turn their back on political system totally. We've got a whole group of people in the city of Detroit who would vote if I had some people behind me. If I had money behind me to get up there and talk to these people and tell them, look, put me in the office, I will help you. Let me tell you something that they didn't know. Rashida Tlaib, and I told them this. I said, Rashida Tlaib, everybody wants, they're going to get her back in because she's a Democrat. But first, she's Palestinian first. Her whole regime is to get you to fight the Jews for her, not you to fight for you. And I started to explain to them one of the programs that she's implemented is called A New Way Forward. Now, A New Way Forward is an act. Let me see if I can read it to you. It's because I talk about it all the time. I should know about her. But the New Way Forward Act is an act that allows criminal immigrants to come to this country and live forever. You can't put them out. You can't change the law to kick them out. At that, in fact, they may have passed it by now. They may not have passed it because I know Trump is vetoing all those kinds of things. But the New Way Forward Act is run by a Mexican Democrat. What does that mean? Rashida Tlaib is one of the 44 Democrats who's pushing this agenda and getting Black people, African American people, to sign off on it and push for it. What are they trying to do in our country? When you start looking at this and looking at what's going on in our country, they are trying to make America the prison country for the world. So if you have a criminal, this is how they're implementing more free labor. So if you have criminals in China, anywhere in the country, send them to America. We'll house them. We'll take care of them. And when you need free labor, we'll send them out to you. In fact, they're already doing this right now. We'll be the free labor party of the world.
They are already advertising in the South for what you're saying.
Yep.
To grow food, to work out in the fields.
Yep.
They're already, and we just up here clowning. I can't even believe we don't see this stuff. I can't believe we just look over it. And as many of us as it is, I can't believe
we still outnumber them.
I just can't believe that we're not connected. We don't see nothing. I can't believe it.
Well, like I said, the ones who would see, who are like the grassroots, they would see it. But I can't say after being in it that African Americans and Blacks who are in our political regime, I can't say that they don't see it. They choose the money. That's what they do. They choose the money because they don't see a way out. And they say, well, we'll just take the money. They're going to kill niggas anyway. That's what they do. So basically, it's left up to us Indians to do something. Let me tell you, I don't really give a damn about what the African American and the Negro think. It's you that I care about what we think. I'm not talking about you, period. I'm talking about all these Indians who may be online right now listening to this. It's them. They've got to sign these petitions. We've got to come together and put a round table together and say, how many people can we choose to run for office and get them at that table?
Right.
I can't, I need people who will do that because I've been there and I've seen we have the power and the numbers to put our people at the table, but we won't. We need to.
But why?
I don't know very much about some of our chiefs, but I'm concerned. Why aren't these chiefs getting back with me? What are they afraid of? Losing their status as recognition? We don't need to be recognized. If anything, we need to be acknowledged. We don't, because once we become recognized, now we're in their policy.
I asked this brother who was a chief down here. I was like, yo, dude, where your casino at? He didn't say nothing. I was like, where the casino at, homie?
Right.
And dude, you're not a chief. Stop bullshitting the people.
That's bullshit.
Stop. I mean, really. And I think this
And
is
a real chief wouldn't even want the casino. Do you know? I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but there's a political movement where they are actually moving out some of the Native Americans off their land because they know they're not the original people.
right.
Because these white boys have decided, and this is what they said: hey, y'all not doing nothing with the land we gave you, and y'all
Right.
not doing anything with the casinos. Y'all ain't nothing but drunks and this, that. So they're taking it back.
Right.
See, this is why I tell our people we don't need recognition because
Right.
then they can take it back from us. We just
Right.
want to be acknowledged. What does
Right.
that mean to be acknowledged? What do we do when we sit around the table? We got to talk about what that means to us. There's some brothers that I deal with in certain states. You know what it means to them? To be weaponized. They are buying land and growing their own food, and they're coming out of this lie. And they're ready to protect what they have, the land that they have now bought and that they now own. And I'm saying every Indian needs to put money together to buy, I don't know, an acre. Find another person who will buy an acre next to yours. And we need to start owning the land. And that's when we win.
Right. So
I mean,
all this,
Danielle and I have put up not only a petition, but we put up well, we're getting ready to put up one where we're going to be raising money to buy. It's 17 acres. We want to buy this 17 acres, but we want somebody else to buy the next 17 acres next to it.
right.
And start buying our own communities and putting them together.
Right. And just remember this, guys, because this is very important. What this sister said she wanted to do, okay, like let's say she said she needed 500 people. You can look at it as 500 people, or you can look at it as 1,000 hands.
That's right.
We need hands, y'all. We need hands to help build. Like you built those mounds, we need those type of hands to build. These ideas, we getting them, and we getting people in place. But the brothers she talking about who just got the land, they gonna need hands to help build and cultivate and build up that land. And this is why we can't be arguing over dumb shit.
Mm-hmm. And there are people who's joined his community. He sent me pictures the other day. All it was just a row of our people planting food. It's one house, but it's other people who some people have brought what do you call those trailers? They live on that land. They grow food on that land. It's not about who owns the land. It's
Right.
about building a community on that land. So I said, well, look, how many other houses are there behind this plantation? I'll buy one, even if it's only got two acres on it.
Right.
Because now we're going to begin to connect our land. And
Right.
all of that land will belong to us. We're fighting for something then. We're
Right.
really fighting for something.
Right. So the audience, I hope you hear this sister, what she's saying. These are the ideas that can be spread to all of us. You got the sister in Virginia, the Accomax. These are ideas that we can all share and just pass down to everybody. And like she said, this is how we get the land back.
Mm-hmm. Buying it and protecting it. Because I doubt if they give it back. But we
Right.
can pull our dollars to buy it and protect it. Danielle and I are also talking about visiting some of the mounds here in Michigan, because that's where a lot of our energy and power is, to start walking the mounds again.
Yeah, that's very important. Okay, talk about that a little bit. Being on this land and being around and walking in the footsteps of your grandmothers, your great grandfathers. How important is that?
Well, like I said, to our people, we have an interconnection to the planet and the universe. That is the real Trinity, not this Father, Son, Holy Ghost shit. And so when we walk our mounds, we're actually creating energy or abiding in an energy in that interconnection, which is why our ancestors wore fringe on their arms and legs, because that's part of the energy level. The reason they keep us away from those mounds is because our DNA actually reacts to walking our mounds and making noises at the same time that we're walking our mounds. And in fact, I even said this about I don't mind calling names, Two Hawks. You know, I saw him running around the fire with all these so-called Indians, and I thought to myself, he's just mimicking the mimicker. They're mimicking us. They ain't doing shit because their mimic means nothing. Then he goes
Right.
around running around the fire, beating the drum, mimicking them. How is
Yeah.
that even a
Right.
connection
Right.
to our planet and our universe? We can't mimic them anymore. That's another thing the system has given us. A bunch of people who do witchcraft and a bunch of other things that has nothing to do with us. It's so natural to us. If we would just come together and say, we're going to put our fringe on, we're going to put our feathers on, we're going to go, we can be led by somebody, you know, everybody ain't got to be a chief, and just go to the mountains. If we don't do anything but walk it and listen and say, hey, let's do it again. Hey, let's keep moving until the universe responds to us. We need to do it.
Yeah. You're up in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the, I mean, of course I've heard of Pontiac, Chief Pontiac and the brothers up there, but what are some of the places people can go around where you are and can do that?
Oh gee,
I know you had those lakes up there, right?
Yeah. Now Danielle and I put a list together. I don't have them in front of me right now, but we are going to put those things up on our website because we're beginning to develop the website now. We want our Indians to come to their website, not just to learn, but to give information for us to come together and start this and say, hey, we're going to put together our own mound building program. Go to the mounds, reach out to our universe, reach out to our ancestors. Come out of this system, so to speak. And I'm not talking about politics, but the system that they've given us, and start acting as who we are and calling out to the universe and saying, hey, you know, we're turning away from boxed foods and pork and I'm not, you know, you understand what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah.
we got to start looking
get
at the laws of the universe. It's in us.
Right.
We're everything that the law of the universe is. When we talk, everything we see, speak, hear, I mean, we're antenna. We're the voice of the universe. We're hearing the universe. She's speaking to us all the time. If we would just stop being deaf and blind to the nature of who we are. Does that make sense?
Look, listen, you know, because this type of information that you're given is not given on a frequency. You know, it's given on a different frequency. That what you said is probably the only thing that makes sense that's said in America today. We don't get information. We don't hear it all the time. But what you're saying, we need to hear that every day, every hour.
Every day.
You know, and that's where the frequency has to build up. But listen, we got to cut it short because I got some other things to do. But listen, please come back because we got to, man, this sister wrote some stuff down, y'all. You wouldn't believe it. And you've heard her. So we're definitely going to have her back. Just please tell me you're going to come back.
Oh, I would love to come back. My whole thing is to inform our people, and hopefully we'll mobilize.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and close out right now. And I just want to let the audience know. Could you give the people who were feeling what you were saying a way that they can contact you through an email or whatever?
Yes, you can email me at Deborah. That's EMAHDEBORAH @gmail.com. Now I have my I'm going to give you a phone number. I have several, but if you call this number, I will get you in touch with the other things that we can do, and it's 734-743-1708. We are looking for people who want to work in our organization with us to bring us back home.
Could you repeat that number?
734-743-1708. I'm looking forward to your calls.
Okay, well, cool.
Please
Well,
call.
yes. Well, look, there you guys go. There's another resource. We have resources all around the country. People like the brother she was talking about. You got sisters who got farms in Mississippi. You have people doing what we need. We just need hands. We got to work with this land. We got to work
Yeah.
with the earth. She look, you are everything. You exemplify everything that's going on in the universe. But somebody got a hold of your mind, and somebody has told you how to think, what to think about, when to think. You better not think at all. So here's another resource that you guys can use, and we're going to have her back so she can give you part two. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. And everybody, we'll see you next time. Peace out.